of my plug fishing for bass is with shallow diving plugs. However, under certain situations, surface plugs are a better option. For me, those situations are when it is relatively calm and there is a lot of surface activity from small bait fish. When those bait fish are being chased by predators such as mackerel, garfish, pollock or sea bass, the surface plug is a great choice of lure. This shot is sea bass hitting small bait fish. This video is about surface plug fishing for sea bass using the walk the dog action, and was shot over a couple of sessions. Okay, I'm at one of my marks to do a bit of surface plug fishing for bass. I've got today what I consider to be the perfect conditions. It's calm, it's lovely and calm and clear. There's just a little ripple on the water, which means that I'm going to be able to see this surface plug, walking the dog on the surface really well, and see any takes or any surface activity from the bass or bait fish that are around. It's sort of during the day on a Saturday. There's a bit of boating activity around, as you can see. Fishermen being fishermen, we like it when there's no one else around, but it's a lot quieter now than it would be in the height of the summer. It's right at the end of September now. A lovely bright day, crystal clear water. Like I say, for me, it's the most enjoyable time to fish with the surface plug. So we'll give it a go. It's about an hour before low water now, and I'm going to fish down to the low water and fish a few hours of the flooding tide. And I've already seen a little bit of surface disturbance from bait fish, so hopefully there'll be one or two fish around. Let's say we'll give it a go and see how we do. The surface plug I'm using is an IMA Salt Skimmer 110F 110mm. Now there's no action as such on this plug just by cranking it in. You have to impart the action using the rod tip, and that action is known as walk the dog. And for those of you who are not familiar with the term walk the dog, basically all it means is it goes through the surface of the water in a zigzag motion, back and forth like that. And that of course creates a disturbance and a wake which attracts the bass, and it could imitate a fleeing bait fish skipping along the surface trying to escape its predator, or it could imitate an injured fish. There's a rattle in this plug, of course, which is an added attraction, and when it goes across the surface, it doesn't go flat parallel to the surface like that. It goes through the surface at a slight angle, and the head protrudes out of the surface and just creates a little bit more disturbance. Like most IMA lures, it's a fantastic caster. Casts really well across the breeze and into the breeze. But I don't use these type of lures when it's rough. I only use them when it's calm to relatively calm. So that's the plug, and again, for those of you who are not familiar with walk the dog, I'll show you how to do that later. Not that I'm an expert at it, but it's pretty straightforward how to get that zigzag motion across the surface. The rod and reel and line to go with it is my usual lure rod. It's 8 foot 15 to 50 gram, and my 4000 size spinning reel loaded with 20-pound braid, and then attached to the end of the braid is a couple of feet, 2.5 feet of 15-pound fluorocarbon, and that's joined with a double uni knot. And to the end of that tied a link so I can easily just clip the plug on. Right, so that's the tackle, and hopefully I'll be able to show you this plug actually catching a bass. I'm in a lovely calm area here, and this is a good place for me to try and show you how to walk, for those of you that have never done it before, how to walk the dog. But basically you cast the lure out, and then when it hits the surface, you just take up the slack And when you can feel just feel the tension of the plug, you just twitch the rod tip back and forth like that at a sort of slow to medium pace. Just twitch it back and forth whilst you're reeling the handle of the reel, not too fast, and hopefully you can see there. See how that's just zigzagging. That's all it is. It's just a zigzag back and forth, and then of course it creates that lovely wake. And just you see some surface activity across there, and if you saw that from bait fish, so that's promising. So just show you that again. I'm not going to cast it out too far. You cast it out, when it hits the surface, take up the slack, and then just twitch the rod tip, or wave the rod tip back and forth, not too quick, just fairly slow, whilst turning the handle of the reel. Again, not too fast, and then you get that lovely zigzag action there, and that disturbance created on the surface. And I can hear those rattles in the plug rattling away there as I do it. I'll show you that once more. So cast it out, it hits the surface, take up the slack, you can feel the tension of the plug, and then down on the rod tip just wave it, not side to side, it's back and forth. Wave or twitch it back and forth at a fairly slow pace. This is the hardest bit, is controlling the pace whilst turning the handle of the reel. Again, not too fast, just to create that lovely zigzag motion there. Do that once more. Cast it out, hits the surface, take up the slack, twitch or wave the rod back and forth, not side to side, back and forth, whilst turning the handle of the reel. Again, and then you see that lovely zigzag action, and the plug there with its head just peeping out of out on the surface. Right, so that's walk the dog. Well, we're into a fish, but I don't think this is a bass. Could be a garfish or mackerel maybe. Yeah, I think it's mackerel. Oh well, it's a fish. Better than no fish. Are you squeamish? Sure? Okay, I'm into a bass. This definitely isn't a mackerel. Yeah, this definitely isn't a mackerel. Just running towards me at the moment. I'm not quite so sure it knows it's hooked. It's coming straight towards me. Amazing. It will soon know in a moment. Yeah, it's only a small bass. Yep, it knows it's hooked now. Well, there you go. It shows you these surface lures work, given the right conditions. Nice little bass there. Obviously going to put this one back. It'll be under the legal size limit and under my size limit, so we'll put it back. Lovely little bass on the surface plug using the walk the dog action. Right, get him back. And there it goes. Just finishing this session now. I've had a couple of moves to try and find another bass, catching that small one on the mackerel, to no avail. So I'm just going to have a short while here just to close up, but always pleasing to catch any bass when you go bass fishing. But come back another day and try again, and hopefully pick up something a little bit bigger. Also got a bit of a nightmare at the moment. There's a lot of, as the tide has flooded in, there's a lot of this floating loose weed like that, and it's making it a bit impossible to fish the surface plug. So I'm going to call it a day and come back another day and try again for another bass. But again, really exciting to actually see the mackerel take it on the surface. I mean, personally, I love mackerel. I think they're a tremendous fighting fish considering their size. UK's tuna. They're a great fish, and they're a fantastic eating as well. Nothing much can beat fresh mackerel. Absolutely delicious. And I'm actually going to put this one's a lucky mackerel because I'm going to put this one back. Hope you saw that. Wasn't that a fantastic take? Now this is a bass. That is the one thing that's absolutely brilliant about using surface lures, is that visual action. Yeah, this is banging really well. Wasn't that brilliant? Fantastic take there. So fast. Incredible. Yep, it's definitely a bass. Hopefully it's well hooked. Well hooked. Not a huge bass, but a decent bass. Yep. Okay, I'll get this one measured, find out what sort of size it is. Say it's not a huge bass, but a lovely condition bass, absolutely beautiful, and really pleasing to get one a reasonable size. So I'll get this one measured and see what sort of size it is. I use my priest, this is my priest, and I also use it as a measuring stick, and it's really useful to be able to do that. And the priest is exactly 40 centimeters, which is what this bass is 40 centimeters. I'm going to put this one back. I don't take them unless they're at least 42 centimeters, so I'm going to get this one back. Fortunately it's hooked okay. Let me just show you it. There you go, beautiful bass there, and wonderful looking fish, aren't they? So we get this one back. Obviously it's well over the size limit. The size limit is 37.5 centimeters in Cornwall. But as far as I'm concerned, it's going to be a putback to grow a bit bigger. And away it goes. For those of you that have never tried surface lure fishing for bass before, I hope you found that useful. Although only a couple of bass caught, one very small and one a reasonable size, it shows surface lures do catch bass and other fish. My first choice of plug would always be shallow diving plugs. However, given the right situation, when there is surface activity from bait fish and bass or other fish can be seen feeding on that bait fish, the surface plug is a good choice and well worth having in the tackle box for those situations. It is certainly a very exciting visual way of catching fish and a lot of fun. Once again, hope you found that useful, and many thanks for watching.